Hello and welcome back to the Birds on Powerlines podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Skeleton Crew, the first 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew, because at the time of filming, episode 5 is not released yet. So we're just going to be discussing our thoughts on the first 4 episodes, episode by episode. We don't know what the other person's going to say.
No.
So
yeah, and if you haven't caught us before, that's what we usually do, right?
Yes, so it'll be a little bit of an adventure.
All right. So, and again, if you're listening to us on audio, you can find us on our YouTube location. You can see us in video, because this is also a video podcast. Mm-hmm. And there you'll find us at Birds on Powerlines podcast. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get right to business.
Okay, so
episode 1, and we had decided that you were going to go first.
You have the episode names,
and I have the episode names. So episode 1, this could be a real adventure.
Yes. So immediately, so Skeleton Crew is definitely billed as a kid friendly, kid centric show. But I thought the opening scene was a bit intense for a kids show, the fight scene, and it reminded me a lot of the one of the opening scenes in A New Hope, where Darth Vader's just mowing down all the rebellion soldiers in the hallway, and we see the similar type scene in Rogue One, but
yeah, but I wasn't traumatized by that. So.
Okay, that sure.
When I was 7 years old, and saw it, so
I did not see that when I was 7 years old.
I didn't put you in front of do that to you when you were 7. When did I start doing that to you?
When The Force Awakens came out. Was when we started.
Whenever
that was.
As a parent, that was my job.
Okay, but anyway, so that just seemed a little bit strong for a kids show, but it was fine. It was definitely compelling. Helped set things up.
It was very piratey. Though.
Very, very piratey. Yes. So that did kind of help set the tone for the pirate
kind of see. But
yes.
I mean, I haven't seen all the Pirates of the Caribbean. So I don't know. A lot of kids like that too. So
sure.
In adults,
maybe, but yeah,
I don't know.
But that was my thoughts with that, and like I said, pirate version of that, and yes, so
you write very small.
Yes, I do. And secondly, I noticed that a lot of the droids that we're seeing in this first episode, we see the security droids and the ones at the school, the teacher droids, they do look a little bit the ones at the school do look they look like we've seen the same types of droids before, but the security droids, they definitely look different because they have cameras, literally 4 heads, right? Do they not?
I'm
pretty sure they had they literally looked like they had cameras for heads, and that looked very different.
Why did I not notice that?
I think they
could be.
I
so
think
we'll
they
have
did.
to look that up.
But
so if you're listening, and you can correct us, but
they definitely
honestly,
looked. To me, they looked very different than pretty much any other type of droid we've seen before. So I just noticed that they did.
Well, that would make sense if they really are isolated. But anyways, we'll get to that.
Would. But anyway, and then yeah, they've seemed much more threatening than most, even the droids that are built for battle. They looked more threatening than the battle droids and all that
security
stuff.
droids.
Yeah, the security droids. Yes, that's what I meant. And then I was thinking I actually really like all of the main characters. I especially like Neil. I just like him.
He's a sweetie.
He's a likable character. But he's very wholesome but wise, and I like how we can see each characters, most of the characters we can see their family, we can see where they're starting out from, and then we're gonna follow them through.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I didn't even talk about that, but it's good that they actually show sort of the background that these characters have, but not with what's her name, KB.
Yeah, we don't really see anything about her parents until the second episode.
Right, but you do with the other 3.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I also like how the characters, they're all shown to, at this point, really straight off the bat, they're shown to have their strengths and weaknesses, the things that make them who they are, and I think that's really good to have that strong characterization starting out through the beginning, and then so far they have stayed pretty consistent throughout. They're not it's the plot is more molded to fit the characters and the characters to the plot. Which to me at least. But I quite liked that, and I thought that At Attin, like, itself just immediately was a little bit odd because, like, they're saying, like, we can't leave the barrier, all these security things are going on, and, like, we know that this is set during the time of the Republic, and that just does not really jive with, like, what we've seen of the Republic. The Republic was supposed to be fighting for, like, freedom for all the planets, but this seems like really kind of, like, strict, very isolated, almost like benevolent empire type thing. Like it like
Yeah,
not like
not
that, straight up like
yeah.
not straight up like all the stuff that the empire was doing, like on the worlds, like where they were mining and terrible working conditions, but it was like just very restricted, and that didn't seem like what the Republic was kind of going for. So I thought it was a little bit odd, even though like there were people coming in, obviously, like from off-world, like that one, the woman who came in and spoke out to all the children, like she was clearly not from At Attin, but like at least I don't think she was. Like they said she was from like the Republic, but it just was a little bit weird and kind of struck me as a little bit odd. So immediately I thought there was something a little bit wrong.
A little bit wrong
with that.
A little bit off. Yeah, I have things that I want to say about that
also,
too.
And also, like I was kind of thinking, like, what exactly is the Great Work, because that was not explained. Like all the kids are like, oh, we have to join the Great Work.
Yeah, they didn't say that, but
what is that?
But it really made it sound like that the whole community or the
was
whole
built
planet
around doing
on
something,
a particular job that they were doing.
And I just thought that was a little bit weird.
Yeah, and it was, if you think about it, because these are little kids, and now that just talking about that, they're talking about the Great Work, but the only thing that you really see of what they were learning in their lessons was like
times
like math and money stuff, like commerce stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean now it makes sense once you get into like the fourth episode, like the other episodes.
But in the first episode,
but when I reflect back on that, you're like, okay, that's weird. You know?
But those were my thoughts on the first episode. Yes.
Yeah, but just something that I didn't touch on, but KB.
Yeah.
She has that visor. That
I'm gonna say something.
You're gonna talk about that later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No, because you can come back to that.
Because I'm like, what did she? Anyways.
Okay,
Okay. We'll come back to that.
All
right. We'll come back to that. I just want to don't let me forget because I didn't write it in my notes.
I wrote it. So.
Okay, you did. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what did I say? I really had fun with this. All right. So I loved the casting. Like, so I agree with you. The casting was great. Not that it matters really, in terms of the story, because I don't criticize acting unless unless it really is terrible.
I thought definitely the kids
it wasn't, and they're all believable. The kids are great. And they're very convincing. They're convincing in their roles. Like they each have their own thing, and there's no cliche. That's the thing.
One more thing that I just wanted to think about, because like a lot of like especially like more a few years ago, like it was very common for like people to like age up characters and have younger characters played by older actors. But like this is definitely like the kids are.
They're kids.
I'm pretty sure they are the age that they are, or like they're very close. So that helps that authenticity.
That is nice, and I just liked the episode because you're saying it's more of a kids geared towards kids, but it's just nice.
It's mature, but it is also
right.
It's simple but mature.
Simple,
well, simple,
not
and
simple in terms of plot.
Well,
but
it's not like crazily complex.
Right,
like,
but
it does have,
I was saying is that it's just fun.
Yeah.
There's cool toys, there's critters, there's robots, and it's not steeped in angst. Right? It's not steeped in angst. Like as much as I love Andor, but the angst there was at such a high level. So this is just like fun Star Wars. Like it reminds me of like when I saw the first Star Wars when I was little.
That was kind of what they were going for.
And it was fun.
So
and and they're not worried about all the lore. I don't think that goes with it. So you don't have. Look at you. But honestly, really, like it's not not like that.
Much, yeah.
So I don't think it's like there's this gospel that everyone's trying to follow. So I think that's great. And here I said it brings back the joy I had when I was a kid. And I said, don't get me wrong, Andor will probably still be my favorite, even though there was all that angst, and I was always upset at the end of every episode. But yeah, and then the other thing that I loved is that even though we've got the kids there, and we've got the two girl kids, there's no like cliche, right? That and that was the thing that I didn't like about what was the last one we just watched? Acolyte. Why did that name pop out of my head?
Yeah.
I I just felt there was so much cliche, like the I didn't like that. So these are just like, and we have a
Yeah,
podcast on that, so
did.
you can go back and
look
listen
at that.
to what I thought about that. And I don't usually like being critical, but I just didn't like all the cliches that there was. But this one, it's just the kids doing kid stuff, and even though there are some things that you would think are stereotypically kid things,
but
it's not like.
It's not to an extreme extent.
Right. And it's not like, oh, well, there we go again. Right. Like, it's not like that. So that's what made it
Don't
really
push
fun.
the button. And he pushes the button.
Yeah. He knew he was going to push it. But it wasn't like, so it was fun. So then the other thing was, here, I wrote down the acolyte. So the writing is good. Not that the writing in the acolyte was bad, but I just, and again, I don't like criticizing like that, but I just didn't like all the cliches. I didn't like it.
It was a little bit like you could see things coming.
Yeah, you could just, it was so like, so favorite scene. So I'm going to do that again. I'm trying. And I find that my favorite scenes are actually pretty simple. So I really liked Wim at home.
Yeah.
Just dreaming and looking at his like storybooks and
Storypad.
Storypad. Like it's just like he's dreaming about.
I thought it was interesting, like how it like flipped over.
Yeah, like that flip over
that was
thing.
interesting because it was
it's
digital.
Like, I
it's
really
like
like that.
Screen, but it flipped over, like,
and it kind of made it look old school
somehow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so good.
Because normally when you see like data pads and stuff, you see them just like flash between things and
like this was like a scroll.
But it was interesting.
So I just loved how they did that.
So that might tie into how like the backstory of At Attin.
Yeah, maybe.
Being a little bit isolated.
So it's just really cool. So and I could really sympathize with the dad, Wendell. I just feel like there's a lot more going on with Wendell than what we're actually getting so far, right? So I sympathize with him. He's really trying to keep it together. And then, the episode really establishes what life is like on At Attin really quickly, right? Like there's this like, this certain thing about
like
it.
Suburban.
So people, so At Attin is just normal, right? Like normal, right? It has that sort of idyllic where people are happy just to get by and take part in, suburbia. Like there's that suburbia kind of like feel where nothing's really happening, but probably something's happening, but nothing's really happening, and then the other thing though, like they don't answer why that ship was empty, right? No. And now in hindsight, we started talking about that. One of the few things that we were talking about.
It wasn't empty; just everyone was dead.
Well, no. The ship, the opening scene when they went into the vault and it was empty.
Yep.
I mean, I think now we know. But anyways, so there's like I put the ship was empty, right? So there's more going on at At Attin than you think, right? That's true. So meanwhile, these pirates were thinking that this is going to be full of money,
credits.
Right?
Yep.
So anyway, so that's what I thought about on episode 1, and because we write I write my notes right after seeing the episode, so I'm like, why was it empty? So there was that feeling, right? So episode 2. So I think what we said was that you start, I start, and then I do mine, and then I do 2, and then you do 2, right? Okay, so episode 2 is called Way Out Past the Barrier. And this is the one part where I kind of had an inkling. I knew that droid was going to be important. That because there's only one droid that's like, and the rat comes out of its eyeball, right? So that's going to be a really main character.
Well, there always has to be a droid.
Yeah, there has to be, and I mean somebody's going to fly this ship. Right? I was just surprised that it was a pirate droid. Like I was not expecting it to be a pirate. Were you expecting it to be a pirate?
I mean, it was on a pirate ship.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be a pirate. So it's like
I just think that where is the rat? The rat is like a constant
perpetually coming out of its eyeball.
Where, like the rat is lost at some point in time, but
but it comes back. So it's pretty funny. We're just losing part of our set here. That's what we're looking at. Okay, so if things start to get brighter in this video, you'll know why. Anyways, let's keep going. So hopefully we don't lose our whole set. Okay, so I was surprised that it was a pirate droid, but it did make sense with the first scene. So then you don't really know what happened after that ship was boarded, right? Another surprise for me was that At Attin was a fairy tale, right? So, which explains a lot of things about why everything on At Attin is so sanitized, right? It's like, it's protected. It's still left from, I guess,
No,
sort of
it's like Old Republic.
Old Republic,
Yeah, it was
whatever
one of the tools
time.
of the Old Republic. Yeah.
Right, so it's and in terms of its currency, right? So they really are hidden away somehow, right? And that explains why the pirates are looking for it in the first place. It's like X marks the spot, right? So they're there. So then I had these question marks. So why are there these restricted areas? So right away that brings this sort of mystery there coming up. So something really is up in those wilds outside of suburbia, right? And those things are sort of like it's hidden. Yeah. It's hidden underneath everything else that you're seeing, and that's where you start getting that little bit of an edge to me. And then so then coming into the characters, so Fern, I think I really enjoy how she's really good at making up stories and lies. But that sort of puts her in league with Wim a little bit, right? Because they both like stories. Quick thinker, and then Wim is not afraid of much, right? So maybe it's because he's just really naive. I
did think that thing that he did, like throwing the bowl like on the fire, that was like very smart. To make the big fire explosion ball. that was smart.
So he's a quick thinker. And then I had to laugh about Brutus, because in the first episode Brutus is the one that betrays him, like it's, funny. But you can see he's clearly come to his own in the second episode. So he really benefited from his mutiny. And then here we have, and I didn't check who the players were, but here we have Jude Law as the heavy hitter. So what do we call him? Do we call him Silvo? Do we call him Crimson?
Do
we call him? What do we call him?
I've been calling him Jod this whole time.
Is it John or Jod?
Jod.
Yeah. So it's like,
because that's what the kids have been calling him. I think that's
so like Silvio, Jod, or Crimson.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's Crimson yet in this episode, right? But but that comes in episode 3, right?
Yeah.
And
I was looking at this. I don't think he's actually Crimson Jack. I think that he just kind of stole that title. I've been researching.
You were researching.
Yeah.
Yes. But obviously the kids are going to see him as a Jedi, right? So he's a Force user. I didn't think he was a Jedi in this. I was just like, he's a Force user. That's sort of the feeling that I got in episode 2, because we got all these pirates. So I'm thinking he's just a really Force user pirate is what I was thinking. But I'm not sure if he's completely trustworthy or not. But regardless, he's going to be not predictable. Yeah. Right? And I think that's sort of what's going to make this fun. And that's how I felt at the end of the second episode. So your turn.
Okay, so the second episode.
Title?
Yeah.
Very interesting as an astro...
No, the second one. The second episode.
Oh, sorry. You're still
on the second episode.
I'm very sorry. Okay, you do your second episode.
Yeah, okay. So the second episode, I thought it was interesting that like all of Wim's money, like his dad gave it to him as lunch money, but then everyone's like, all the pirates are like, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of lunch money.
Yeah, so something there was definitely not right. So that was made me a little bit more suspicious of At Attin.
Actually, at first I didn't remember that was his lunch money. I thought he might have found it on the ship.
No, that was his lunch money.
But I know.
And now I'm actually thinking about it. Do you remember because there was something stamped on there. Do you remember if it was?
Oh my God, you're asking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what was stamped on there. I think
it's just lines and dots. I don't know what they were.
Yeah, well, it probably was the Old Republic symbol, which was interesting.
But I didn't.
Anyway,
notice.
and
you know more about lore than I do.
Yeah, and it's gold, so that means it's not Imperial. I don't think it's not. It wouldn't have been an Imperial credit, 'cause I think all the Imperial credits are civil. Anyway, because they're made with the best card they stole from the Mandalorians. Anyway, so and also the kids on the pirate mall spaceport.
Okay.
In the spaceport, they seem to be very disoriented, but I think Fern is definitely doing the best, like rolling on her feet and like dealing with things as they come along. Like,
there's just so much there that they want to. Yeah,
like she just seems like the most like capable, like most street smart in a way, which is interesting.
But she's good at faking it.
Yeah, because she's good at faking it. Like it doesn't mean like she definitely is the most capable. She definitely was the best at like handling the things that happened. I think because like Wim was fine because he was quick at thinking on his feet. Neil was fine because like him and Wim worked well together. And KB was fine because she just was very smart. But it was just interesting to see how the different kids handled themselves. And then I was thinking a bit more about like who exactly is Jod, like because given like his age, he probably would have been about the age of like a Padawan, who was like escaped Order 66, but he doesn't really seem like a Jedi per se, but he doesn't seem like a Sith either, so I think he might have just
he realized that the kids didn't really know what a Jedi would be like.
Probably, yeah.
And he can catch on pretty quick, so I think
But anyway, so then I was kind of wondering where exactly in the galaxy are they right now, because like we can infer that they're probably somewhere on the Outer Rim, but that's like a very large place, and most things in Star Wars take place in the Outer Rim, so I was thinking they might be like really like on the edge of the Outer Rim, like near like unknown space, which might explain why like Jod was not like scooped up by the Jedi, because we know that they were very good at finding anyone who was force sensitive. So that,
or he was just rebellious.
Potentially, but yeah. So I was just kind of thinking about like
he escaped. I don't know
who exactly is he.
Yeah, and you're kind of left with that mystery at the end, like what is
a little bit,
what's going to happen. But yeah, like I enjoyed that, and I didn't see that coming, and I guess because I didn't.
No, I knew there has to be some kind of force.
Yeah, and I was like, especially it's Jude Law.
With all the talk that Wim has about Jedis, we know we must encounter a Jedi at some point.
Yeah, but that was the thing with the Acolyte. There was so much build up for Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yes.
Right. So. And you were telling me about that even before we watched the episode. So
because she was.
So I just because I'm so busy. I'm just like, let's just go watch this and enjoy it. And so I was surprised when we saw Jude Law right there at the end. And I thought, well, he could be a Jedi, because right, but
maybe
he's
maybe not.
So that was how I felt about that. All right, so then you were going to do episode 3, and then episodes, like I was going to say, very interesting as an astrogation problem. Astrological gation?
No, I think it's astrogation. Astrogation.
It is astrogation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Astrogation problem.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to say I really like Kim, the owl lady.
I like how they spell Kim. I mean, I like it too, but I like how they.
But I thought it was really interesting.
Like him with a K on the front of it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I thought it was really I liked it, and I liked her, and I liked just the fact that like the show is definitely introducing a lot of and highlighting a lot of like new and different species that we haven't seen before. Like in the spaceport, there's like tons of dozens of species, and then even on At Attin, like Wim, there were other and like other different like all other different kids. Like it was just really interesting. So this is definitely a good chance for some like world building and seeing more different species than just humans and Wookiees and whatever.
Still very human centered, but
but we are seeing like many more different species. And I'm now thinking that Jod definitely seems a bit more suspicious. Like, what is up with that? What is like? And Kim is even saying like he's not trustworthy. Though Jod is now saying that Kim is not trustworthy.
They don't trust.
So
nobody
like
trusts
no one trusts each other.
In a world where you can't trust anybody.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Like especially now going into episode 4. Like, but besides that, it's interesting that a lot of the like older characters in the show are like, especially because they're all pirates or pirate adjacent, or definitely not
adjacent.
Definitely outside of the law. They're all outside of most of them are outside of the law in some way or another. But the kids are the ones that like are like very instinctually trusting, and generally seem to be okay for that. But it's just an interesting thing to see like the parallels between like the younger characters and the older characters.
And I also like how Kim was also a collector. Like she had all these like
all the
things.
scrolls, all the data maps.
That was
nice. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then this is what I was saying. I was really wondering what exactly KB's cybernetic visor does.
Let's talk about that.
Because we see in episode 1. Yeah, she can. Yes, and we can see.
What does she have a visor
in episode 1 that like she has a voice modulator built into that. And it does seem she can like connect it to like a lot of this technology to do different things. And then we know she has a lot of ability to like use and learn.
Do you think it's just like a toy?
No, I don't think it's a toy. I think it's more of a tool. Because like sometimes she has it up and sometimes she has it down, but mostly when she's like doing things she has it down. So I think it is maybe it might be similar to like Mandalorian helmet, where there's like things built into it to help her see on top of what she already can see. Why does she need it? Like, maybe she doesn't need it, but maybe because like she definitely has demonstrated that she is.
See, that's the one hole that smart. I feel like I'm not quite.
So I think that like it probably is there to like enhance her abilities, especially like given that At Attin is a world that seems to be very based on like a lot of like mathematical calculations and money and all this stuff. So maybe perhaps like, and we know her parents saw where her parents like had like they said like they lost the signal to her life monitor, so we know that there's something in there in her visor that's connected to the parents. Yeah. So I'm thinking that it might be some kind of like tool to help her, like to increase her abilities to that are already like her, her computation abilities. So
sort of that they
yeah.
recognized something in her and they gave her this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because it would be helping on whatever the great work that they're doing. I don't know, or they're training.
So that's what I'm thinking it is, because we do see that she is very.
And she's older, so she would have already done her like tests that they were supposed to do.
No, I think they're all the same. They're all the same age.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they
are. I thought that Fern is older.
No,
that was the impression that I had.
I'm pretty sure
she didn't have to write. Did she have to write the test?
She did.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did. So all of them are the same age. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
So yeah, and I'm just thinking it's something to help enhance her abilities. That's what I was thinking with that.
Yeah, like I was trying to piece that together. It's like, because at first I thought maybe she can't see, and then she takes the visor down and she can see. Okay, so you're done with episode 3?
Yep.
Okay, so what did I say? I said glad the episode showed a bit of what was going on back on At Attin. I mean, because they could have just not shown that, but you're like, well, you know, what's going on? Like, I mean, the kids are gone. There must be something going on, right? So now you're really starting to get the impression that the planet is definitely behind somehow, right? So you get that sleepy suburban feel, and for me, you know, at the age I'm at, it kind of reminded me about, you know, that, you know, the Edward Scissorhands kind of like urban feel,
I didn't like that movie.
Suburban feel, because it was like it was suburban and it wasn't really.
I keep trying to forget that I've seen that movie, because
I love
it
that
freaks
movie.
me out.
But anyways, and then the other one was Pleasantville as well, like with Tobey Maguire. You might I showed that to you when you were really young.
Is that the one with the where they're like in the TV or something?
Yeah, and it's black and white, and then it turns color for various reasons. But anyways, but also that was also like a suburbia that wasn't quite.
But it was also a little bit weird.
It was there was something that was being hidden there too,
also,
right?
Like Truman Show. Even.
Well, Truman Show,
kind of,
but that you know from the get-go, right? Yeah. So so there was that, and then the other issue is it also explains why the money was so ancient. And I really, so I really feel like there's also something more with Wendell, with the father, right? Because he's very introspectively. The other parents are like, ah, and he's like, you know, very serious. You don't know what happened to Wim's dad, right? Mother, right? Yeah. So I feel
maybe
like
it's something like that.
I feel like he knows something about off-world stuff, and maybe because that ship was hidden there. I mean, it didn't crash and then. You know what I mean? Like so I feel like he knows stuff.
Though he didn't know. Well, no, he did kind of go. And he didn't really seem like that freaked out by the
like
shit.
He kind of like
he was just a bit, he was more
just
like
he
worried
was just like,
for,
oh my god, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he had this sort of like defeated kind of feel about him, right?
Yeah.
So
but he didn't panic. Was the main thing.
And this is why he kept trying to steer Wim away from, you know, like I really feel that there's something there, and I'm hoping we're going to see what that is. Okay, so I would love to know. Oh wait, I did think that Jod Silvio Crimson.
So
went back for SM33. So I think that he did do that. Says a lot that he has a sense of doing right, right? So it isn't just because he wants to get. I really feel like he you know, he does have some sort of a code. I would love to know more about the history between Jod Silvio Crimson and Kim. And Kim is an interesting character, collector, and I'm pretty sure that one of the security people that came to the planet was Carson Teva. Yeah. Right, so I'm pretty sure one was because he's showing up in all of these things, and I'm pretty sure that was Carson, and you and I, we're fans of that actor from Kim's Convenience. So I kind of cheered. I said, "Oh, it's Appa!" Right. So if you don't know about Kim's Convenience and you love Carson Teva, check out Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
So you'll love it. And yeah, so he plays a Korean dad in that, and he's fantastic. And okay, what did I like? So anyway, my favorite scene was when the kids were in Kim's home. And I also really loved the banter between Jude Law's character and SM33. I love that banter that they have. You can tell that SM33 is like Jedi my ass, right? Like he doesn't say that, but you're just like, yeah, right, you're a Jedi. And like, and so you know what he's thinking. And but definitely he is using the Force. Like he obviously can do that. And I almost wish that the episodes were a little bit longer so we get a bit more details. Yeah, right.
They did seem like
but
a bit
so
short.
that was that was cool. All right. So am I doing episode 4 first, and then we can close it out? Okay. So episode 4, as our set is continuing to fall apart here on Birds on Power Lines on our video podcast. Pretty soon we'll see sunlight. Okay. So that's you be prepared. That's going to happen. So episode 4, title, Can't Say I Remember No At Attin. And in my mind, episode 4 was a little bit of a placeholder. No, I don't feel like a lot more happens here in terms of development of the characters.
Well, no.
A little bit for Neil,
yes,
for Neil, but it gives more of the backstory, and that's sort of what the purpose of this episode is, I think, because you get to learn about all the other planets.
It's also more of an introspective type.
Yeah, so it's not like it's so there wasn't a lot of action in this episode. There was obviously at the end of the episode, but so it was more of a character development episode. I feel like so I liked it, but it was different in tone than the other 3 in my mind. So it felt to slow down a little bit here.
Well, I did think it did help, like, because it says 8 episodes. If they had just gone back to At Attin in episode 4, that wouldn't have.
So
that wouldn't have
it's
worked.
like, wait a minute, it's over already, right? So there was that. And I always had a sense that SM33 must know more, right? Because he's literally crashed with his ship on this planet, so he must know something. And he's like, he doesn't know anything. So either he was purposely hiding it, or something had happened, right?
And we were up to this point, we were thinking just the rat.
But it's still right. And then now he keeps saying it. So and so then that makes you like, what happened to that ship? Why is it hidden like that? Right, because it looks like it was purposely buried, right? Yeah. So you again get that feeling that Suburbia was hiding something. So I guess we'll call him Jod, because I keep saying Silvio, Jod, Crimson.
So, just call him Jod. Kids call him Jod. We'll just call him Jod.
But again, he did come back.
Yes.
Right. He came back. So pirate or not, right? So there's more to him. So he did come and rescue the kids, and either you kind of don't know what happened, and I like how they explained it. Neil, I loved his character development here. Like, the brave thing to do would just be to quit and just get along, because that would be the brave thing to do, but nobody wants to ever admit that that's what we want to do, right? So the conflict, in a way, in making the point that conflict in a way is manufactured, because everybody really just wants to get along, right? Nobody wants to be fighting all the time. Nobody wants that, right? So he's pointing it out, and it really is an adult problem. And all people are trying to do is one up each other, and why are you doing this?
Like, oh, you stole my whatever those creatures were.
Yeah, so then
we're
I'm going to do
burn
this
down
to
your
you.
granary.
And then, but the weird thing is, okay, so then I really doubt that any adult would train kids for a couple of hours and then get them to lead a thing. So that was the thing where I was like, no, that wouldn't happen. There's no adult that would do that, not even knowing who these kids were. So that was the only part that I thought was a little weird. I'm wondering why that was a choice. But it's sort of letting you see sort of what's starting to happen to these other worlds, because they say that the other ones were lost, but what happened to them, and the thing that I think is really weird, like, why did this happen to, because it doesn't look like they were invaded by anyone.
They just devolved.
You think they just devolved into because they look
like
they look like they're still isolated somehow.
Yeah, they are.
And so why are they?
They said they do trade with off-world. It's just some people do know about them. But,
so that's the weird thing.
Yeah,
so you don't really know what happened there, and why they're sort of essentially became tribes, right? They sort of separated themselves between us and them, and then weird. Anyways, and someone who's force trained could completely take advantage of that. So I think that's sort of what happened there. So, and then, but why are all the planets similar? Like, were they decoys of each other? Like, are some just decoys?
But then again, if they really were supposed to be hidden, why are they all like the coordinates of all of the planets are in the
on the map, like in that star. Anyways, who knows where they got that map from?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But anyway, so there's all these questions, and I don't know if we're getting any answers to them, but these are just sort of the things that happen. Favorite scene. I'm not sure what it was, but I really liked again when SM33 and Jod were interacting, and he's
Come on to the ship, baby.
Come on, baby. I'm going to be your babysitter. So that was funny. I mean, kids find that funny because they have babysitters, but it's like funny.
Yeah, that kind of reminded me of how like the Mandalorian repurposed the bounty droid to be like the nanny.
The
droid.
nanny, yeah.
I didn't think of that,
but yeah,
like something that's so like completely deadly become
the nanny. And then the other thing that I thought was funny is catching Jod stealing essentially the lunch money, right? So that, because the bullies steal the lunch money, right? And it's just like that's essentially his lunch money. And then at the end he's like, did you use my lunch money? Like, I thought it was great. I enjoyed that. I don't know what it is about it, but it was just so simple, and I thought it was funny. So that was my thoughts on episode 4. So there you go.
Well, I was thinking, so I was also wondering what happened on At Attin, like why, because literally the kids were saying like,
I had At Attin on here and I didn't even say the words.
It looks like home, but it's definitely there's no way it could be because like everything looks so old. So then I was thinking,
that's not looked after. It's run down and destroyed.
Or like it happened a long time ago, but I guess it looks about the same age. Like the tree in the house looked the same, but just
age.
Like weathered and worn and stuff. So it was just interesting. So like, what happened there and why exactly? What exactly caused?
But isn't that interesting? It's like duplicated to the point where the tree in the house is in the same house.
Yeah,
that's like,
exactly.
That's weird.
And then I was actually thinking maybe it was because we know that the pirates have been there before, but the pirates couldn't find At Attin. So maybe every other world is like that because like the pirates were able to find that world because we know that.
Then they
Like
SM33 took away the part on the instructions to get there on that.
Exactly, yeah. So maybe every other world that was similar to At Attin has become like At Attin because like we know the pirates are there. The pirates like have weapons and stuff. So maybe they just introduced that to the population. They were like trading and stuff.
It's kind of like what happens on Earth with pirates in the old times. They go onto islands and they kind of like
so
destroy
maybe
them.
that is what happened and it didn't happen on At Attin because the pirates.
And by the way, we were in Greece and we have podcasts on Greece and that we learned about pirates in the Greek islands. The same kind of thing, right? The pirates showed up and everything went to pot. Yeah.
And so then I was saying I really like Hannah, the character.
Of course.
I like her. She's very capable. And it was interesting like to see
she's
like,
more sensitive to things. Like, she
and
can see
it was interesting to see that like the adults they literally verbally say like we like respect the children because like the kind of like because the children are like the future and stuff. So it was interesting how like that's kind of a bit of a difference in dynamic from At Attin.
Oh yeah.
Where the kids are just kind of treated as like kids go to school.
They're treated as kids.
If you like skip school, then you're truant and stop that. Don't do that. But they're treated as children. Whereas on At Attin, they're treated as like adults. Like they're just adults. And it's just really interesting.
Small adults.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that like we saw like a lot of development with Neil, and his like approach to like all of the fighting and all these things. Like he wasn't like the other three, where the other three were like pretty willing to just like, okay, sure, let's train with the weapons and whatever. And it also was interesting that like KB was, I think we noticed she was like a very good shot with that.
But maybe because of her visor.
Maybe because of the visor, maybe.
And then Fern actually admitting that she is, having problems with this whole scenario.
That was a good scene at the end. Yeah. But
so really, I love the character development. See, that's the difference with the Acolyte. There was really no character development. They were just always the same, and that's why it got kind of repetitive. And here you got,
And I thought speaking of that, I thought it was a good thing that like Fern was saying like, yeah, you guys made me the leader, but just because like don't say like I can do everything and expect me to solve all the problems because I really can't. And that was really good. That was like it was good that she was like so vulnerable and she admitted like I don't know what to do. And Wim also said like basically I also don't know what to do.
And I think that's fantastic.
Like
this is why it's good writing. It's good writing.
Because these are fun. Like children. They're like maybe about like 10 or so.
Yeah.
Like
it's fun.
they shouldn't know what to do.
They're at the point in their childhood where their personalities are really starting to form.
And
right?
it was just interesting. It was good that we saw that. And now I'm really thinking like Jod seems to really now like genuinely he does seem to care about the kids. Like he
likes
could
them.
have just he
likes the kids.
Yeah, he could have just gone off with the lunch money with the ship with SM-33 and like turned him off at any time and just I don't know, just went.
I know he's hoping to get a reward, but I think he's
gone
in it for like there's
yeah.
more. He might just like adventure.
Maybe,
you know what I mean? Like there's that aspect of the pirate life that's just full of adventure, right? So,
but yeah, I thought it was good. It was interesting that he came back for the kids. And I like when we originally saw him like step out of all the smoke.
I thought there's going to be a bunch of guns pointed at him. Is that what you were thinking?
That's what I was thinking too. Like he was like walking like out in the front with and before he admitted, I just used the lunch money to like buy them off. I was thinking he literally straight up like did like a whole crazy Jedi fight scene and like took them all
or they were
out.
going to use him as a hostage. Like I did not see him coming back with the animals.
Yeah, I did not think that
would
happen. Yeah, I did not think that would happen. I did not think he was just going to use the lunch money.
So that was a surprise.
Yeah. And honestly, I kind of don't believe that they really just took the lunch money.
Yeah, there's something
because they can't really use credits.
It's fun though, right?
But,
like that's the other thing. I guess we should also not overthink it.
Yeah,
right?
But I really think that he did just like sort of fight them all, but maybe not.
There's something there that we don't know.
Yeah, there's something there. Yeah. So I was thinking like he definitely seems more. He seems more capable than he's more capable and more like caring than he's like letting on. Yeah. Anyway, and then my last thought for this episode was like we never really found out who the original captain of that ship was. We never found out who that was.
You see Brutus again, right?
Yeah. But Brutus was like the second in command over.
Yeah, he was the one that
led
the mutiny.
Was Jod the original captain? And was SM-30?
But then Brutus would know him.
And then Jod would know that like SM that.
Yeah,
you know
no,
where
so that's no.
So I'm like,
so
I just
know what happened
trying to figure out where.
No, but didn't they throw? No, they didn't throw the other captain of the airlock. I don't know. You don't know.
So I don't know.
But Brutus obviously did well for himself.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure. Is SM was so Jod in the beginning? Jod was the captain that threw over the ship coming out of At Attin, I guess, right? No, yes, he was. Yeah, he was. I think he was.
No.
I think okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly was going on in the first scene because SM-33 was part of the crew of pirates in that first scene,
and the other ones are not. We don't know what happened.
Yeah, but I thought that Brutus led the mutiny against Jod.
No, because then they wouldn't.
But then Jod, yeah. So I'm just
because that captain did not look like Jod, unless Jod is wearing
a helmet. Yeah, I
don't think it was.
I don't know.
I really don't. I think
I'm
there's
not sure.
I think there's another reason he was in the brig.
I don't know.
I could be completely wrong. If you're listening to this and you think I'm completely off, let me know. Let us know. But I really felt that there was a different captain in that Jod was in the brig at the pirate base for some other other thing that he had done because he's just like that. Because but
they said like he was loose. They said Silvo was loose, and Silvo was the captain originally that Brutus threw over.
I don't. We're gonna have to watch it again because I don't think so. I didn't get that impression, but maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's just something there that's a little bit something's there. So I just wondered who was the pirates captain. Like I thought that Jod would know that, but he doesn't seem to know that.
No, he doesn't seem because then he would know SM-33. That's
something
doesn't make sense.
Something's there that I think I missed something.
Yeah, but, it's a different captain.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that was.
But there is that part where Jod is looking at all the skeletons that are stuck to the thing. So he takes the knife out of one of them,
and he puts it back in his. So he was there.
I don't know like that,
because he puts the knife back in its scabbard on him. Yeah, so it was his knife.
So that's why I'm kind of curious. Maybe he killed the captain. I don't know. But I know he wasn't that captain. Like I don't know. Or maybe something happened. There's a reason that Brutus put him in the brig.
That ship, the ship that was crashed At Attin, was that the same ship that we saw originally?
That was my impression, but maybe I'm completely
not
wrong.
because that just does not.
And
I
and
don't
I
know.
don't, and
Yeah.
these are all questions.
'Cause
But right
it
now
looks
I'm just enjoying.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying watching.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And now that our set has fallen apart.
Yeah. And then one last thing, because I want to talk about the music, of course.
Okay.
So, it was Mick Giacchino, who is the son of Michael.
Oh, yeah, I
Michael
remember you were telling me this.
Giacchino, who did the music for Rogue One, which I also very much like. But it was interesting. So, I just on based on the Wikipedia page for Skeleton Crew, it said that the four main chords in the opening credits, because there's
It
four.
talks about the chords.
Yes, it talks
on
about yeah. There's
Which
four-
Wikipedia page are you looking
the
at?
Wikipedia
Music-
page for Skeleton Crew.
Oh, really? It talks about that much detail?
Yeah, it says that. He said
Oh my
that in
God.
some kind of interview.
All right.
But the four main chords in the opening are for each of the four main characters, and I'm wondering which one is which. But yeah, just
Oh,
interesting.
I see what you're saying.
But
So there's a chord for
Yeah,
for
for-
Wim, for Neil,
for
KB,
Fern.
and for Fern.
Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
honestly just wondering which is which. That'd be interesting to know.
Well, I
but-
mean, so far I don't think that. Well, I guess with Wim there was times when he was alone. So I mean, I guess I'm not a music nerd, but if you would
Yeah.
listen to those scenes,
you might hear
where
that,
you
yeah.
have just Wim,
Just- or
if there's
just the
if he
each
has
character,
a
yeah.
theme, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know back with the old Star Wars, there was the
Definitely,
Darth
yeah.
Vader theme,
Yeah.
the Leia theme. So I wonder if he's
Probably.
trying to.
More
If
than
there's a
likely, they
play
probably do.
on that chord. But
So we will have to
There's some
listen to
homework
that
for
when,
you.
when they come. When I don't think the soundtrack is released yet, but we'll have to look at that when
that
comes
would be
out.
something that you would be right up your alley.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so are we done with the
I am
first 4
done,
episodes?
yes.
I don't think I have anything else to add.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you bring in the ideas of the music,
Mm-hmm.
and then because I mean, not that it's not just music, but I don't. I'm more like you. I'm more like looking at the what's happening in the story and the
Yeah,
acting.
that's true. Mm-hmm.
But that would make sense because I do the acting and you do the music thing. So,
Yeah.
just it really has to be something really profound for me to really get struck by it. So yes, and now we have to watch the next episodes. Are not out yet, so it will be a while.
Yep.
Before we do
Little
the
while,
next
yep.
the next podcast on this topic, because we will wait until we've seen all four
four.
episodes, and then actually being together to do that,
To watch them,
because you go back to school, right? And we will see how this all takes place, and we're going to do another podcast shortly that should come up soon. The plan is to do
Quite soon. Yes.
to go back to Doctor Who.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, so we have a lot of podcasts on Doctor Who. So if you're a Doctor Who
And
fan,
we will have one more.
yeah. So I think we're planning on the Christmas special.
the
so
holiday special, yep.
whenever you listen to this podcast, if it's completely years after Skeleton Crew is out, if you're also a Doctor Who fan, we'll be reviewing
Doing
the 2024 Christmas special for Doctor Who. So I think that's the next plan.
Yep.
All right. Usually we don't say what our next plan is, but we
Yeah.
do have our plan.
We do have our plan. So be
and
on the lookout for that. in
Be
the
on
future.
the lookout for that.
Sometime soon.
Coming up, and that's probably going to come out before our next Skeleton Crew
Yes. Yep.
podcast. All right, and again, as usual, we want to thank you for listening and being part of the Birds on Power Lines podcast.